Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
That sound means it's time for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am your host, Chase Smith, and with me, he covers your Cleveland Cavaliers for Sports Illustrated, and that is super cool to say. The one, the only, Sam Amico. Sam, dude, just Cleveland sports, man, is just unparalleled.
Yeah, it's there is never a dull moment, that is for sure, even when the teams aren't making the playoffs.
Moments into All-Star Weekend, I don't even know if the All-Star Weekend had a chance to breathe. Reports, you reported one of the first ones, Beilein is on the way out, and the Cavs head coach. What is going on, Sam?
Chase, there's a lot of things at play. You know, I'll be honest, it caught me the first time I saw the report was ESPN, and it caught me by surprise. Again, you know, the Cavs are full of surprises. I'll say that for them. You know, the Andre Drummond trade was a big surprise, and now we have this information or, you know, reports about John Beilein that are obviously very accurate. You know, Chase, I will say there have been more than a few times, probably since about November, where I have left the post-game or even mostly the post-game press conference and joked to other members of the media, you know, and not to make light of it, but I've actually joked and said, John Beilein looks like he would rather be coaching Eastern Illinois or, you know, Missouri State or something. He just doesn't look comfortable. And I don't say that, you know, to say the guy isn't putting forth his all, because I really think he is. He's giving the job his all, and the team is not. He's not really getting anywhere. They're kind of spinning their wheels, and I think that's had a real impact on him. And more than anything, Chase, and this is just my own thoughts. This isn't anything based on any kind of fact. It's all speculation, but as a first-time NBA coach, I compare him to Brad Stevens in Boston and Billy Donovan in Oklahoma City. But those guys are younger, you know, considerably younger, and those guys were hired to coach in situations that were a lot different. I mean, Billy Donovan was hired to coach Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook for a Thunder team that was in contention, you know, and Brad Stevens was hired to coach a Celtics team that was like a year away from serious contention. So those guys were put in very different situations. And John Beilein is a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. He's a guy who's known as a teacher. And, you know, in college, you get maybe 2 games a week and 4 practices. You get a day off. So there's, you know, but you're having like 4 practices a week. And as a coach who's known as a teacher, and needs to implement his system and needs some time to teach that. Well, you know, in the NBA, you're lucky. You're lucky if you get 2 practices a week. Usually it's 1, because you're playing so many games. You're traveling so much. You need to give people a day off. You need to give the players, you know, time away. And it's hard to be a teacher in this situation because, you know, his teaching moments have to come almost always during the games, and that's not something he's used to. This is a man who cherishes and has always cherished practice time, and he was always afforded that in 41 years of coaching the college game. And you know, that's why the NBA can be such a tough road for college coaches who are brought in to help revamp a program or you know, a team, a franchise at the NBA level.
You know, at the end of the day, Sam, the Cavs have underperformed. And I know we didn't expect the team to be great, but sitting at 14-40, the second to worst record in the NBA, losing to the Warriors, who have the worst record in the NBA, with a lot of young talent, high draft picks that show promise, with a coach who was very successful in college, lost players to the NBA, really failed expectations. Honestly, I mean, yeah, this is maybe a matter of fit, but it's like he hasn't done a good job. Whatever connections needed to be made, whatever transition from college to NBA, it's always, it seems college coaches have a hard time. There's a track record of failed coaches. The outliers are the successful ones, whether it's Billy Donovan or Brad Stevens, and those are just more recent. But he should have done better than this. And to have him 50, 60 games in say, hey, like I'm not going to follow through this 5-year contract. In 5 years. He said, yeah, I'll do this for 5 years.
Yeah.
Could he figure this out, or has he lost the team that much?
They've clearly, if we remember, and you and I have talked about this, they at the beginning of the season when they were 4-5 and they came out and they overachieved at that point, and everybody was so excited at the style that they were playing. They were scrappy, they were gritty, they were in games that they probably shouldn't have been in. They had that shot to win at Philly early in the year. Yeah. Everybody was excited, and all I can point to or speculate is that it's been a disconnect with the players since then. We've heard the reports, it must have been in November or early December, about some player unrest with the coaching style. Yeah. And then you had Slugsgate, and you had Kevin Love blowing up at Kobe Altman. There's been a lot.
There's a video of Tristan Thompson like lashing out at Beilein too, and like I think he during a timeout, or he took him out.
Yeah, that was one of those games with Colin Sexton took a shot that Tristan didn't like, and Tristan got yelled at for his own shot.
Wait, which game was that? I don't know.
Probably any number of games, okay. But we'll save that for another day. But I just think I think he got to the point, and the players got to the point where there was a disconnect. And I think that he continued to try to coach, but I'm not sure, just based on observation, that he continued to believe these guys are going to follow my lead. And guess what? They don't have to follow my lead. At the University of Michigan, at West Virginia University, at Canisius, the players have to listen to the coach. And if they don't, they're going to sit on the bench. Their draft stock will get hurt. Their college career, their college legacy will get hurt. The coach is completely in charge of the program at the college level. In the NBA, obviously, that is not the case. You are more like a foreman on the assembly line in the NBA. Yeah. You just have to make sure that everybody is producing their roles. And there really isn't any, that rah-rah stuff. And I'm not saying John Beilein uses that, but just as an example, the rah-rah college stuff only goes so far. So, and that's not John Beilein's strength. So don't misunderstand me there. I'm just saying there's just a big difference in the way to motivate players in the college game and at the NBA game.
Sure. Well, to that point though, Sam, I mean, we were excited about the staff he brought on with, with the team at the start of the season. Lindsey Gottlieb, Bickerstaff. It seemed like names that, he's really putting people in the right place to position these young players to grow and to succeed. Yeah. And for him to throw – now, granted, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He hasn't stepped down yet, but we don't really feel like there's coming back from this, do we? Sam, is it possible for him to walk back in that locker room? He's telling the team he doesn't want to coach them.
Well, I think, yeah, it has. I don't know that it's come out that specific, but it basically is. It seems almost like a mutual thing. It seems like it could be, the only hang up now might be, okay, well, you had a 5-year contract. How much of that do we actually pay you? Does he say, as I probably would, Chase, not to sound greedy, but this is a reality of a job is, well, I want the full 5 years that I'm owed. And that sounds, bad, but guess what? The worst case, the other option is I stick around and coach the team, and then you fire me and give me the full 5 years anyway. So, maybe he's not going to go that route. Maybe he wants out of the job so bad that he says, I'll take half that. I don't know. This is all just obviously me thinking out loud, but to answer your question, Chase, no, I don't think that he should be coaching the team Friday at Washington because of all these reasons. And I think that the Cavs and he need to come to an agreement. Like, look, you're going to be the hottest commodity in college basketball next year. If he leaves the Cavs, he will be on every college team with an opening radar, and he'll be their wanted man. So this isn't going to be the end for him, but he just needs to come up with an amicable split with the Cavaliers. But Chase, no, I don't think you already feel like you've lost the team. Imagine going into the locker room Friday night in Washington and saying, well, here I am. I don't know how much longer I'll be doing this. You don't know how much longer I'll be doing this. That's no way to reconnect with the players. And I think that both sides really need to move on right now.
To be 60 games in and say, this isn't for me. Did he not understand the commitment? Did he not understand the different style of coaching? Like, I mean, he's not he's been in basketball for all of his life. He's a really incredibly intelligent man when it comes to, like, how did it I mean, I just don't understand. Is he just that miserable? Is he just like, this is the worst? Like, I'm the most unhappy I've ever been. I can't do this for 5 years.
I don't know. Look, I've been in jobs before at newspapers where I just got to a point where I decided, you know what, this is never going to get better. I don't feel like I'm going to be able to do my best work. I need to move on. And I've gotten to that point, and I can Chase, and I've misread the way people look before. So this isn't gospel by any stretch, but he just looked, and it's been months. He's looked like unhappy, even though he's handled it like a true pro and handled and approached the job as a guy who is going to finish the job. I think that he just probably thought, this just is, they're regressing. They lost 12 straight at home. They lost to the Knicks at home. They lost to Golden State, this year, who's terrible at home. They got blown out. They've been getting blown out in games, and they're regressing. And, there are some signs of, Colin Sexton and Darius Garland and those younger players making some progress. But I just think that he's clearly not the long-term solution. And I don't think that has to be anybody's fault. I don't think it has to be Kobe Altman. We always look who to blame or who to criticize. And I just think that this isn't that type of situation. I think that nobody has to be to blame here. I just think it's a guy who is 67 years old. And I can tell you, just me writing about the home games at my age, which is a lot younger than John Beilein, but I know that it can get taxing. And so for somebody to try to run a professional basketball team at 67 years old, I think he thought, obviously, he had great faith when he took the job he could do it. He's been successful everywhere he's been. Yeah. And Kobe Altman and his team and Dan Gilbert had great faith that John Beilein was the guy. And you know what? When you decide, hey, man, boy, we really dropped the ball on that one, then you got to move on quickly.
And this is what this shows me, that he's not willing to be adaptable and try to make it work. And the small sample he did give it isn't long enough. And that's sad. Sam, this could not have gone any worse. I mean, I don't know if at the start you're like, man, worst case scenario, what does this look like? Never in a million years would we said All-Star break, he's done. And so this is a complete and colossal failure on the Cavs and John Beilein and the players. It's just bad look all around. It hurts my heart. I love basketball. I wanted this to work. And this is just not a good look for anyone. Sam, let's look ahead. Friday in Washington, who is going to be on the sideline coaching the Cavs? Who's your pick?
Well, if they move on from this, as they should, I mean, that's right now. It would be almost a worse look if John Beilein were back on the sidelines Friday after all of this. Look, it's going to be J.B. Bickerstaff. He's the associate head coach, was the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. His father is Bernie, who was a longtime NBA coach, great guy, is a senior advisor of the Cavaliers now. And
would that be an interim or official?
Boy, Chase, I think that knowing Dan Gilbert, who thankfully is making, great progress lately from his stroke. Knowing him, I think it would be an interim type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that, who knows, let's see how they respond to JB Bickerstaff would be. I think JB has proven that he can do a good job in these type of situations. He was in Memphis last year when it was a terrible situation, and they made the best of it. And
But
this isn't to say the Cavs are in a terrible situation, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them.
there are some names, Sam, out in the market. You got Fitzdale, right?
Yeah.
He's coaching
Yeah.
the Knicks. Oh gosh, who was that? Tibbs. He's still available. He's
Yeah.
probably
Those are all
down some throat lozenges somewhere.
those are all really NBA experienced guys who have been through all this.
Yep.
And of course, we know Dan Gilbert, and if this opens up at the end of the year, he swings for the fences, right? I mean, you're going
to have a high draft pick. You're going to have a lot of young talent, and you're going to want a coach who can, you can't keep tanking like this. You want a coach that can put together some wins. I don't know. I would like.
You have to show progress. You have to show progress, and they're regressing.
Yeah. So I don't mind giving Bickerstaff kind of an interim title, and then this offseason, again, hire a coach and slap a 5-year. you ever see that meme where it's like the guy at the some water's leaking and he slaps tape on it, but they put words over the tape. And I just imagine like a 5-year plan, and that's what's going to stop them.
Well, there's been a lot of coaches. I mean, we talk about the Browns. Look at their coaches. The Cavs have been just as bad, and since firing Mike Brown the first time in 2010, I think they're at like 7. I don't know. I haven't actually done the counting, but they've had Mike Brown and Ty Lue.
I got it right here. Since Mike Brown in 2005, you had Byron Scott, Mike Brown again, David Blatt, Tyronn Lue, Larry Drew, John Beilein, and then Bickerstaff probably.
Okay, so you'll have Mike Brown was fired in 2010 the first time.
2005, 2010.
So that's 6 in what? In 10 years, I guess. I don't know, but my point is that it's not good. You need some stability. You can build a winner in a smaller market without LeBron James. The Cavs have not figured out how to do that, but you can do it. The San Antonio Spurs did it. The Milwaukee Bucks did it. The Indiana Pacers, a team that's constantly ignored, has put together continuous regular seasons that is giving their fans great hope. And guess what? The Pacers are a team that's a player away. Eventually, you got to get to that point where you feel like we're a player away, or guess what? Now we're there. We got our Giannis Antetokounmpo, we got our Kawhi Leonard or whoever in the draft, and you can build a winner in these small markets. Or you've got to be able to have some stability at the top. And I know the Cavs went into this season believing that they had that, and it's unfortunate that this hasn't worked out. But it really hasn't. It's been bad because the progress stopped, and the roster is not a good fit, and they've got more moves and things to do this summer, and now they've got to find a coach long term on top of everything else once again.
Some other coaches, notably to coach around 40 to 50 games. The late Chuck Daly had a 41-game stint in 81 and 82. And Keith Smart, 2003, coached for about 40 games.
Now, I'm going way back, Chase, real fast.
Yeah.
I can remember when Jerry Tarkanian, the famous coach from UNLV, who during the 90s was Tark the Shark and led it. He took the San Antonio Spurs job in like 94, somewhere around there, I think. And he coached them that was his only NBA experience. It was like John Beilein. He was older. He had coached the college game forever, had great success, got the Spurs job, and coached him for 19 games. And that was it. He was done. He was like, I want out of this. He didn't understand, like, well, wait a minute. I don't get to decide who plays and who the players are and all that. And I'm not saying Beilein has that problem or issue, but there's some of that there for sure, with trades and all that John Beilein has really had to adjust to. So sometimes these college to the pros things can be an absolute nightmare. So when they work great. When they don't, man, they can be a real nightmare.
Yeah. Well, bottom line is we'll have a new coach here on Friday in Washington. Probably, again, hasn't been official. We're going on NBA TV tomorrow, which when you listen to this might be today. Sam, what time is that air?
I'm scheduled to go on at 9:15 and discuss the situation. I wouldn't be surprised. 9:15 at night, Eastern time. I'm going on NBA TV. I wouldn't be surprised.
Be resolved by then.
If it's not resolved by then, yeah.
Well, that does it for Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Cavs on the Break. We always follow back. We can promise you that. Shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network for making this possible. Follow Sam on Twitter at Amico Hoops. Get all of his work and writings on Sports Illustrated, analysis, player quotes, interviews, insider info. Do not miss out. And tomorrow, February 18th, whenever you listen to this, Sam's on NBA TV. Check him out, talking all things Cavs and Coach Beilein. Sam, any final thoughts?
Yeah, hang in there, Cavs fans. Just keep the faith, and look, the Cavs want to win as badly as you, and it's just a matter of getting there. So hang in there.
The way we can go is up.
That's right. Yeah.
Better days are ahead.
Let's hope.
All right, Mike Breen, take us out.
Congratulations, Cleveland. Your decades-long wait is finally over. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.